Well, the unexpected finally happened in Call of Duty World. Skill-based matchmaking has actually been mentioned by those who work at Call of Duty, or specifically the matchmaking system, in regards to a lot of our complaints. Now, they did an AMA on Reddit to just ask questions and get feedback generally about MW3, just to try to get some goodwill going with the devs and the community. And well, it got flooded with address skill-based matchmaking. We hate it, fix it, things of that nature. Now, you know how we are. We go nuts. Skill-based matchmaking has essentially just been going into overdrive lately and evolving over the past, 10 years when it comes to Call of Duty. So it's nuts. It really is. And so people have kind of gotten to their breaking point. And now that one of the dev studios were wanting to actually get feedback on the game, I guess they just got overwhelmed and needed to say something. So there is a full statement that they have put out, and I figured we can go ahead and read over it right quick. They say, "We know there's a lot of interest in the matchmaking experience, especially around how skill contributes to how lobbies and matches are put together. Nothing is more important to us than the experience players have with the game, and matchmaking is a big part of that. We've been working on our matchmaking system for well over 10 years, and we continue to spend a ton of time and energy on improving the matchmaking process. This involves people working at our Call of Duty studios, our backend services teams at Demonware, and other groups like our Player Insights team. It's a large effort that we've worked on for many years, and our approach combines latency." It's funny how they're using that as their number one thing. My apologies. "Search time and skill, along with many other factors to try and find the best matchmaking experience for you. Talk about this topic in detail can be hard, and we haven't spent the time to pull together all of our work to share with you our insights and improvements over the many years. We're looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks after Season 1 launches, and we also make it a part of our ongoing discussions with the community, the Call of Duty team." So they finally are talking about it, acknowledging it. But it's interesting because up in the first paragraph, they mention how skill contributes to it. But when they say the specific way that it's kind of working, they are putting latency, search time before skill. And then they do mention many other factors, some of which we have guessed is probably doing with bundles, microtransactions, and turning it more into engagement optimized matchmaking as well. So basically, the whole end of the matchmaking system isn't necessarily these days to make us happy. It's whatever works the best to make them the most money. That's pretty much what the matchmaking system is doing these days. So a lot of people are getting hyped. A lot of people are getting excited that maybe they're actually going to start being honest about it, talking about it more, or maybe they'll actually be rolling it back, making it much simpler, things of that nature. And I've got to say, you've got to take all of this with a grain of salt. You got to be careful. I believe it's Fall Guys. The developers came out and said, in regards to their skill-based matchmaking, that they noticed when they lowered it, a lot of the players quit. They were seeing a decrease in the amount of money they were making. People weren't buying refunds, things of like that. But if they kind of like escalated skill-based matchmaking up, they noticed that there was more people playing, player retention was higher, things of that nature. And for those of you who've been paying attention to like Sledgehammer and Call of Duty statements coming out recently, the things that they do every year after a fresh COD release is that they've been saying as their biggest metric, those who are playing this year and own the game are putting more time and playing the game longer than they have before. Keep in mind, in previous years, when it comes to Call of Duty, they bragged about how much money they made in very little time. They would brag about how many copies they have sold or people have downloaded it. They would compare it against previous games, showing that it is an exponential graph going up of just players buying, how much money they're making, just overall that system. But if you've been paying attention online, they're only talking about player retention. So in a way, for those who have obtained the game, the system is doing what part of them wants. It's keeping players playing. Now, opinion time. I think skill-based matchmaking is just at an all-time high. It's very, very frustrating. Do I think there needs to be some form of skill-based? Yes. But I think it needs to come with like an asterisk. The way I see it, I do believe there needs to be like a protected bracket, because those are handicapped, those who are older with very, very slow reaction times, things of that nature. There are reasons. So like I've always said, like a 0.5 KD and below maybe should be in a protected bracket. Now, you're going to have people abuse this. And if you want to be fair about that, if you make the protected bracket, if people reverse boost or do things to get into those lobbies, and it's clear that they're doing it because they're tracking all of your metrics, ban them. And I don't mean just like ban that account, you know, console ban them, hardware ban them, like if they're abusing it, like if we're going to create a system to have players who need to be in the protected bracket or in it, and then have the grand population just in a pool, you have to punish the abusers harder than ever. Like if all of a sudden you see people dropping nukes over and over and over in that protected bracket, it's pretty clear that they're abusing skill based, and people are doing it more so than ever. And that might be another reason why that the Call of Duty team is finally wanting to come out and talk about it. I don't know how many clips y'all are seeing or people you're seeing online who are just blatantly at this point bragging about using VPNs, joining off alt accounts, and fine. There was a time back in Advanced Warfare when the skill based was at peaking. I thought that's when it really kicked off, and they may have toned it back, where I was angry about people reverse boosting. I was really, really mad. But they've started doing it so much more over the years. I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? Do what you gotta do. If they're trying to make us miserable, the people who've been playing the game for years, the people who put a lot of time in, you know, the people who just want to play Call of Duty and have been, that's their main game forever. If they're looking to punish us now, break the system. That's just simple it is. And I don't know what they might do with it. I would like to just see it scaled back to maybe Black Ops 2 levels. For you, those of you who didn't know, Black Ops 2 definitely had skill-based matchmaking. Now, the first 3 months was quite stronger than what you can recall, but afterwards it felt like it got toned back. It would be nice if we could just scale it back quite a bit, but I don't know how many variables are in play, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of engagement stuff to get bundles sold. But I would just like to see it get scaled back, or because now that we're seeing Sledgehammer open to do an experimental mosh pit, playlist, game modes, something like that. They're clearly testing it out, especially when it came to the outline around players. How about this? In your experimental playlist, create this protected bracket. Or call it just, you know, free for all, or, you know, rename it because we have a game mode named free for all, or just like no restrictions, ping only, latency low, something like that. To where the only attribute in those lobbies is ping is king. Like if you're playing by yourself, it is going to try and get it as low as possible. And if you're playing with a group, it'll try to do the same. Like it'd be nice to see them at least test it out. And I'm sitting right here saying, if they did a mosh pit where there was essentially no skill-based matchmaking, right? And the mosh pit, and it has initial flood of everybody like, oh, we want to try it, but then it dies because people aren't enjoying it. And I mean dies, right? And it would have like TDM, kill confirmed, domination, things like that. If it straight up died, that would kind of show that, yeah, people hate no skill-based matchmaking. Okay. Then we publish the data, show what happened, and it might help, you know, calm the community a little bit. But I think the best thing that they could do is definitely just tone it back, because it's gotten to the fun, or to the point where Call of Duty is just not fun. It really isn't. I hop on, like, to do my daily list of work activities, like a job, if I'm going for camo challenge and stuff like that. Like, it sucks that the only time you get to have fun is like when you're doing camo challenges for, say, like a knife or something that really sucks, and you have so many bad games in a row that it gives you a gimme game, and then you're like, oh hey, this is how COD should be. I remember this. And it's not like, you know, everybody's a bot, but it's just like you have more of a mixture. Because one of my biggest issues with skill-based matchmaking, some of you may have noticed this, the higher and deeper into like the higher skill brackets when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, the same guns are always being used, the same paths are always being used, the same head glitches. Like, it's almost like you're getting into ranked, and to a certain extent, pubs have stronger matchmaking than ranked with no reward. And it's just like, it would be nice to hop back on COD and have that variability, the randomness. Like, that's why everything gets so predictable. For those of you who saw my throwing knives back in MW2, the reason why I had so many cross maps wasn't because I was cheater, had walls, or anything like that. It's just it got predictable. Everybody ran the same routes on the map, so I could literally just be like chucking them and I would get them. And that's kind of sucks, because for long-term retention, predictability gets boring quick. But if you have all the randomness of like everyone from noobs to pros in a lobby, you know, a lot of average players and stuff like that, the game feels more random and more fun. Am I probably going to get blown up by more noob tubers and riot shielders? Probably. Probably will. But if it makes the game more fun, I'll take it. But with Sledgehammer or Call of Duty finally putting out a statement saying that they are willing to talk about it, they're going to address it after Season 1 launches. So I guess right now they're doing the whole PR thing, that they're going to talk about it. Just keep in mind, they're going to do corporate talk. They're going to talk around it, say why they need it, why it works, all of the situation. If you're expecting them to come out and be like, okay, we're turning it off, y'all, we got your way, no more skill-based, that's not going to happen. I can pretty much confirm that's not going to happen. X-Defiant is an FPS that's coming out that's going to have no skill-based matchmaking in pubs. If that game takes off and start eating Call of Duty lunch, maybe we'll see a change. But right now, there is nothing forcing COD to change. Are the player counts lower right now than ever? Yeah. The amount of players playing Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Warzone 2 on Steam are the current equivalent to Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone in April of 2023. So 3 games cannot beat the player numbers there. Warzone 2 is about to get their update, so we'll see what happens, but at least we're finally getting them addressing it, but keep in mind it's probably going to be corporate speak. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Give me your thoughts and opinions. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.